Hi guys, let's break down another chapter out of The Power of Awareness by Neville Goddard. This time we talk a little bit about free will. I think it's a really nice chapter. It's a little bit longer, but there's some really valuable information, so let's get into it. The question is often asked, what should be done between the assumption of the wish fulfilled and its realization? Nothing. It is a delusion that, other than assuming the feeling of the wish fulfilled, you can do anything to aid the realization of your desire. So Neville Goddard is saying that basically we can't do anything to speed up the process of fulfilling our desire by using the law of assumption. There's basically no physical action we can do to speed up the process. And I'm going to break this down further. You think that you can do something, you want to do something, but actually you can do nothing. The illusion of free will, of the free will to do, is but ignorance of the law of assumption upon which all action is based. Everything happens automatically. All that befalls you, all that is done by you, happens. So once you assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled, of your desire, then everything will happen automatically. You don't know what you gotta do, but you will be led by it, by your higher mind or your subconscious, you can call it the universe, God, whatever, but you will be led by it automatically. Your assumptions, conscious or unconscious, direct all thought and action to their fulfillment. To understand the law of assumption, to be convinced of its truth, means getting rid of all the illusions about free will to act. Free will actually means freedom to select any idea you desire. By assuming the idea already to be fact, it is converted into reality. Beyond that, free will ends, and everything happens in harmony with the concept assumed. So this is the key, guys. We can choose what concept of ourselves we have, which identity basically, and this will automatically create everything in our life. But we can't really, we don't really have free will to act beyond that, right? Because everything happens automatically. I can of my own self do nothing, because I seek not mine own will, but the will of the Father which hath sent me. In this quotation, the Father obviously refers to God. In an earlier chapter, God is defined as I am. Since creation is finished, the Father is never in a position of saying, I will be. So basically, right, everything already exists, creation is finished, you don't have to actually create anything, right? I always like the concept of all the parallel realities already exist, and you just have to switch to a different one where you already have your desire, where you're already the person that you want to be. But you don't actually have to create anything yourself, right? In other words, everything exists, and the infinite I am consciousness can speak only in the present tense. Not my will, but thine be done. I will be is a confession that I am not. The Father's will is always I am. Until you realize that you are the Father, there's only one I am, and your infinite self is that I am, your will is always I will be. Your will is always I will be. Yeah, so basically he's saying that you're really you, right? The I am, you are connected to this infinite self, to this infinite God consciousness. And this is, of course, not so easy to realize actually, right? You can't really think about it logically. It's something that you have to experience. In the law of assumption, your consciousness of being is the Father's will. The mere wish without the consciousness is the my will. This great quotation, so little understood, is a perfect statement of the law of assumption. It is impossible to do anything. You must be in order to do. If you had a different concept of yourself, everything would be different. You are what you are, so everything is as it is. So imagine right now, if you have a desire, let's say you want to be healthier. If you would change your concept of yourself, as he's suggesting here, then your whole life would be different. You will basically start to eat healthier automatically. You will start to consume content about how to become healthier, how to do certain type of exercises, about diet, about sleep. You will automatically attract these informations in your life, right? Once you actually change your concept of yourself. And how would you do that? You would assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled. So you would assume that you are already this healthy person. You imagine yourself. What would it feel like to be so healthy, so vital? And then you will automatically attract all the information that you ever need to get there. And then the diet will become easy, exercise will become easy. You will automatically do all of this stuff, right? So let's keep going. You are what you are, so everything is as it is. The events which you observe are determined by the concept you have of yourself. If you change your concept of yourself, the events ahead of you in time are altered. But those altered, they form again a deterministic sequence starting from the moment of this change. This is really the key, the moment of this changed concept. There was one word left. So actually, let's break this down. Okay. So I'm going to give you an example, right? Imagine your life is like a timeline, right? It's like a timeline going this direction. And this is your present moment, okay? And all the events on this timeline are already determined, right? They're determined by the concept of yourself. This is the key. Right, let's actually write this down. And you can't really change these things. You can change them a little bit, but you can't really change the determined timeline. Only you can do that if you change the concept of yourself, and then you basically create a new timeline, right? A new present moment awareness. And from this point, your timeline is different. And let's say you assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled, of being healthy, right? This is health. Then basically this bridge of incidences, imagine you have a bridge here. Okay, man, this looks ugly, but whatever. Imagine you have this bridge, and this will be automatically altered, right? You will automatically change all your habits if you assume a new concept of yourself. You will start eating better, you will start sleeping more, and whatever, right? And this is the same if you want to attract money, right? If you want to attract money, then you don't know what is the best way to get to the money. You might think you know. You might think, okay, I have to work so many hours to, let's say, you want to manifest or attract and create $10,000 in your life, or euros, or whatever currency you have, maybe rupees, the Indian currency, but I guess it's not so much money then. But then you basically, you think you know how you can get there, but you don't really know. The fastest way might be completely different, a completely different branch of incidences. But if you assume the feeling of already having that money, then you will be led there automatically. And then you don't have to worry about what actions to do, what job to take, what business to do. It will be presented to yourself in a really obvious way, and you will intuitively do the right actions. That's basically what I wanted to tell you. Okay, let's keep going. You are a being with powers of intervention, which enable you, by a change of consciousness, to alter the course of observed events. In fact, to change your future. So you have this power of intervention. You can change your future by basically changing your identity and the thoughts and feelings that you have inside of yourself. Deny the evidence of the senses, right? Maybe the evidence right now say you don't have the money, you are not healthy right now, but deny them and assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled. In as much as your assumption, is creative and forms an atmosphere, your assumption, if it is a noble one, increases your assurance and helps you to reach a higher level of being. If on the other hand, your assumption be an unlovely one, it hinders you and makes your downward way swifter. So if, of course, you have a really bad assumption, right, you assume that, oh, my life is so bad, only bad things happen to me, and you have these negative thoughts, these negative feelings, this negative identity, then your life can go downhill really fast. And maybe you have experienced that, right? So yeah, not only the good assumptions will harden into facts, also the bad ones. Just as the lovely assumptions create a harmonious atmosphere, so the hard and bitter feelings create a hard and bitter atmosphere. So yeah, that's completely right. Whatsoever things are pure, just, lovely, of good report, think of these things. That's a really nice quote. This means to make your assumptions the highest, noblest, happiest concepts. There's no better time to start than now. This is true, right? Like right now you can change your assumptions. You can imagine a better life and feel that you already have that, and you will be attracted to this reality. The present moment is always the most opportune in which to eliminate all unlovely assumptions and to concentrate only on the good, as well as yourself claim for others their divine inheritance. So you can also do that for other people, right? And I think he's going to explain this right now. See only their good and the good in them. Stir the highest in others to confidence and self-assertion by your sincere assumption of their good, and you will be their prophet and their healer. For an inevitable fulfillment awaits all sustained assumptions. So if you have read like any stories that Neville Goddard basically wrote about in his books, and you know that a lot of them are actually how you can influence other people and help them in a way, right? By assuming that, for example, your friend that is sick right now, you assume that he's already healthy, you see him in a new way, right? You visualize and you see them and you see him being completely healthy and see what he would like say to you if he would feel really good, right? And that's actually the best way to help another person. So yeah, you win by assumption what you can never win by force. This is so true, right? This is really, really true, right? You can force yourself to, I really want to become rich or healthy or happy, and you can you can force it and work hard for it. But if you don't use the law of assumption, right, it will be super hard and it might be honestly be impossible, right? If your real assumption is that you are unhappy and unhealthy and you can't attract money, then you can work all your life and you might stay poor, right? Like there's a lot of people who work really hard, but they don't really achieve success. Okay. An assumption is a certain motion of consciousness. This motion, like all motion, exercises an influence on the surrounding substance, causing it to take the shape of, echo, and reflect the assumption. A change of fortune is a new direction and outlook, merely a change in arrangement of the same mind substance, consciousness. If you would change your life, you must begin at the very source with your own basic concept of yourself. This is really the key, right? The concept of yourself, this is what you have to change your life. Outer change, becoming part of organizations, political bodies, religious bodies, is not enough. The cause goes deeper. The essential change must take place in yourself, in your own concept of self. So that's also a really deep topic. And yeah, so basically, if you think you can change the world by like being part of some kind of organization, of a political body, of a religious body, this is really not enough. You have to change the source, the consciousness, because consciousness creates everything in your life, everything in our world. But yeah, you must assume that you are what you want to be and continue therein. For the reality of your assumption has its being in complete independence of objective fact and will clothe itself in flesh if you persist in the feeling of the wish fulfilled. So this is really the key, right? Persisting in the feeling of the wish fulfilled, and then your life will change completely. And this is the key. When you know that assumptions, if persisted in, harden into facts, then events which seem to the uninitiated mere accidents will be understood by you to be the logical and inevitable effects of your assumptions. So yeah, like other people would say, for example, if you change your life, oh, this is only accidents, or this would have happened either way, because they don't understand the power of your mind, really, of your assumptions, right? It's actually super hard to explain these things, because if people, for example, see the success of another, they say, okay, he got successful and rich because he started this company, right? But actually, the real reason he even started a company is because he had a changed concept of himself. It changed consciousness, right? So, and the person who started the company and became super rich, he may have not used the law of assumption consciously, but he may have used it unconsciously, right? The important thing to bear in mind is that you have infinite free will in choosing your assumptions, but no power to determine conditions and events. So yes, you can choose your assumptions, but the events and conditions on the outside world, you can't really influence them, right? They will lead you to your desire, but you don't know what these conditions and events are going to be like, right? You can create nothing, but your assumption determines what portion of creation you will experience. So yeah, that's it. That's the chapter, guys. He's right. You can create nothing, but your assumptions will create for you. You don't have to use your own will to change the outside world, right? The key thing is, assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled, whatever desire it may be. Your outside senses might tell you it's impossible, you can't achieve that. Other people might tell you you can't like become rich or successful or healthy or attractive. But whatever the senses deny, if you ignore that and you assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled, you will get there. This is the law of assumption, the law of attraction. So many people have tried it and proven it, and your mission is to prove it for yourself that this works, right? And a desire itself, by the way, is like a sign that you can already have that. Otherwise, you wouldn't even desire it, right? You wouldn't even think about something if you don't have the ability to actually achieve it, right? You can again imagine the parallel realities. In a different parallel reality, you already achieved your desire. That means you are really close to it right now. You just have to change your assumptions and your concept of yourself a little bit more, and then you will have it. Okay, guys? So this was a little bit of a yap here at the end, but I hope you liked the video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you in the future.